Well, this is the Big Friendly Swim podcast, and I'm the Big Friendly host. And today's guest is coming off of probably an NCAAs that you've dreamed about for a while. Second in the country in the 100 breaststroke, Brian Benzing. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I'm doing good. Thanks for being here. So to start things off, talk to me about the initial decision to swim for Towson and what was the deciding factor in you joining the team?
So it's kind of like, I'll take it through like a long-winded story. So I actually really wasn't that good at swimming in high school prior to when I moved abroad to Norway. So like I was okay, like a sophomore year of high school, maybe a 100 100 breast. Like I thought I was good because I made Y-nats and I was getting like last place, but it was fine. And I got to Norway, and my coach, after a year of swimming, my coach saw something special in me. So he was like, all right, well, you're going to drop basketball, which I was playing at the time, and you're going to come swim. You're going to start to do doubles then. So I had never done doubles until my senior year of high school, and doing that was brutal, but I started it. And then after that year, I took a gap year because obviously, like, I have my mom played basketball in college, but like besides that, my family was very unfamiliar with the recruiting process. So it was kind of just like, I had no idea how to get my name out to schools, especially being abroad in Norway. So I took a gap year to kind of try to go through the process a little more and get recruited. And I took a trip to Towson. And I say this to everybody, it just felt like a family. Like it felt like I was already part of the team before I got, like, the moment I stepped foot on campus. And actually, I think two of my closest friends now that I've gone through college with were on that same recruiting trip. And we all said like the same thing. It was just like, they were treating us, even the seniors who they weren't even going to be on the team when we were going to be freshmen. They were there hosting us, like, doing all these games, doing all this stuff, and it just felt like a family. And I knew, like, I committed, like, right after. I actually had a trip to a different school right after. But as soon as that trip was over, I committed to Towson. It was more so just the team culture, and I just knew that's kind of where I wanted to end up.
You know, I think a lot of people discount these mid-major programs. Sorry, they discount these mid-major programs and like the joys that they can provide and the successes you can find. I mean, I think the person who first showed that was possible was actually another breaststroker, Andrew Wilson, if you've heard of him. He was D3 and came out of nowhere. I mean, not came out of nowhere, but he came out and made the Olympic team, and he kind of showed, like, all right, you don't have to be from a Cal, Florida, Texas, ASU now. You don't have to be from one of these like top 5 schools to have a really successful college career.
Yeah. Didn't he make the Olympics too?
Yeah, he was on the team in the 2 breast, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no. I think, like, obviously I think it's getting a bit more attention, but like our program specifically, we had like a very, very good women's team. And then we also had in the past success with Jack Saunderson, who was All-American. Legit, he was a national team member. But then on the women's side, we had a girl, Meredith Budner, who runner-up in the 5 free and mile at the same NCAAs, only to Alison Schmidt and another like South African Olympian. And it's crazy to me because at Towson, like, nobody knows who she is. And she's by far I mean, granted, there's probably been some other like sport athletes, but she's the most successful swimmer that's ever come through this program. And you wouldn't know her if you step foot on campus. Like, there's nothing to recognize her whatsoever. It's crazy.
I think that's partially just like the nature of swimming is that like swimmers don't get a lot of recognition really across the board.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the progression that's been like for you, because you've had 4 seasons at Towson now and you're finishing out your last year of eligibility at Indiana. What's it been like for you to go from making 2 B finals to now being second in the country only to an NCAA record?
Yeah, so it's crazy because, like, I obviously never expected to get this fast or do the things that I've done. Because when I was leaving for college, or like a little bit before, I was talking to my club coach, and at the time my converted short course meter breaststroke to yards was like a 55.9, and my coach was like, nah, like, you're gonna be a 53, like, trust, you're gonna go so much faster, like, don't even, like, I think you could go 53. I was like, no, there's no chance. Like, yeah, I could see a 53 easily. And then, like, I came in, and I don't know, I guess something clicked a bit different in yards, and like maybe it was a change of environment, but it was really nice to come in and be a part of a team that won my freshman year and be able to go fast. I ended up going a 52.5. And it's crazy because my freshman year I didn't even care. Like, I didn't think I would ever make the NCAAs. So like when my coach sent me to a meet, had me suit up to try to make the time, like I way off, didn't even care. I was like, I'm not making the NCAAs, doesn't matter. Like, I'm just here to have fun, be with my team, and like do the best I can. And then next year, my sophomore year, it really opened my eyes, like what I could do, because obviously there's big expectations. If you have a successful year, there's high expectations for the next year for you to improve or do better. So I didn't know how much faster I could get, and not too good of a conferences, but then last chance meet after last chance meet, and I dropped time. And when I went to NCAAs, my coaches, I was like, well, like, I got here. That's all I cared about. Like, I just wanted to make it. And making a B final and almost making the A final was the craziest thing ever. I
remember you were like 7/100ths off of making A final.
I was just happy that I made it back. Like, I didn't even expect to make it back at that point. I was like, you know what? Like, just go there if I can drop time, because I was on like triple taper, right? So I had conferences, last chance meet after last chance meet. I think I didn't lift for like 8 weeks leading up to it or something like that. So I was just like, yeah, just have fun. And then the next year, obviously, like, you B final, there's pressure to go back and B final again or make the A final. And I went back and I was very happy with my morning swim. It was the fastest morning swim I've ever had, or at that point, 51:30, and that was only good enough for, I think, 12th or 13th. And knowing that the amount of fifth years and seniors that were leaving for this year, I knew, me and my coach looked at it, we were like, I got a chance to come back and make the A final next year. Like, a lot of those guys are gone. So I'd say, in terms of progression-wise, the biggest jump was probably junior to senior year, because it was kind of when I learned more of how to actually, like, strategize in races. So I used to just run and gun, just 50 all out, just try to take it home. But like, me and my coach, we figured out kind of like stroke count, stuff like that, how to come back harder. And we knew going in NCAAs, like after that 2 IM, all right, this is going to be a good meet. And it was just awesome to be able to drop time, because my conferences, obviously I didn't fully taper, but I was a little disappointed with my time, but I knew that I had more in the tank. So to be able to go to NCAA's A final and drop more time, it's been awesome. And a lot of people, like, don't get that consistent time. Like, you don't drop time every year. It's very hard to do that. So for me to be able to do that, I love it. It's sick.
You know, and you mentioned like 51:30 placing 12th. And like, I remember like even as recently as like 2019, 51:30 probably would have gotten you like third, fourth, or fifth. Yeah. Like, breaststroke as a whole, and all across the board, it's just gotten so fast. So this is sort of building off of my last question. But now that you've finished your senior year and you're heading into Indiana next year, can you reflect on your feelings and your emotions after NCAAs this year versus after the end of your season, your freshman year?
I guess, like, after my freshman year, it was almost youth. I think that was one of the craziest years, right? Because it was the COVID era. Everything was wonky. Like, I remember our conferences was pushed back until April. I don't think we didn't swim our conferences till April. So even if I did want to go to NCAAs, like I had no chance because it was after the qualifying period and after the meet. But we won it, and so I think a lot of the emotions were like just euphoric. I was just like, this is the best year possible. Like I come in my freshman year, I go best times and everything. We win a conference title. But that was awesome. And then this year, I mean, I wouldn't say bittersweet, but it just feels like I finally did what I've wanted to do for this team, just to be able to put Towson on the map. And I know B final, like getting there and putting them on the map that's still putting them on the map, but to be able to get there, get an A final and get second, it just kind of like felt like I did it. Like it took 4 years, but I did it. And it's kind of like bittersweet in a sense, because NCAAs is different when you're a mid-major dude with you're just you and your coaches. So that experience, I'm not going to have that next year. So like, obviously it's going to be nice to have a full team around me, and I love those guys over at Indiana, but it is different when it's just you and your coaches. It's a good feeling.
You know, I always like watching NCAAs or any sort of college meet, even like internationally. I always cheer a little extra harder for people who are from like a mid-major school or from a country that's fairly underrepresented, because I think it's just so exciting. Like I was talking about this with the ASU head coach. I told him like 10 years ago, ASU was that team who had maybe one guy go to NCAAs. And it's just so exciting to think about the possibilities of down the line, people who are thinking about where they're going to go to college will see that somebody like you has gone to Towson and be like, I want to go to that school. It worked for Brian. It's going to work for me. And it's just, obviously it doesn't happen every single time, but there's like a ripple effect of success once one person puts themselves out there.
No, 100%. Like even being there, like, it feels like the mid-major teams stick together. Like, obviously Delaware, one of my good friends in Delaware, he made it. It was his first NCAA, so hung around him. Had Army, and I guess maybe who was it? It was mainly just us three. Oh, and Hawaii. Hawaii was there. They qualified.
They had a pretty good relay.
They had a really.
I remember watching that relay. I think they ended up top 16.
Yeah, no, right outside 17.
Oh,
They're really pissed. But their leadoff dude, he went at 18-8, so they were really happy.
That's pretty awesome. I remember watching that live and being like, damn, Hawaii's having a good swim.
Yeah, and it's crazy, too, because when they traveled, it was funny because my head coach is, like, best friends with their head coach. And they talked about how when they traveled, instead of, like, trying to adjust to Indiana's time zone, they stuck to the Hawaii time zone. They were going to bed at whatever time, and like just treating it as if they were in Hawaii. So they were at the pool when nobody else was there. And like, he was like, well, if you think about it, like when that relay goes off, it's going to be like 2:00 Hawaii time. So we're going to be perfect. And
yeah,
working out. So
it's going to be like right during when they're practicing.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it, like, I guess it's easier to stick to that than to try to force your body to adjust to a different time zone.
It's actually a pretty interesting method, and like it seems like it worked out for him.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the day of the 100 breaststroke and like your emotions and your feelings after prelims when you went, I believe 50.9, and then your reaction when you touched the wall and saw the time that you went in finals.
Yeah. So prelims, I knew that I just had to get it done in prelims, and me and my coach have been talking about what we thought it would take to get back to the A final. Ever since like mid-season, he was like, if you go 50 point anything, you'll make it back to A final. Like you just gotta do it in the morning. And after that 2 a.m., I had a lot of confidence, and so I went out and I swam my race and I touched the wall. And I didn't even get first in my heat, but I didn't care because I dropped 0.3 from my best time and ultimately qualified for the A final. And it was just seeing that and knowing like, yeah, I did it. Like I'm 99% sure that I'm going to be back in the A final. It was amazing. And like going into finals, I was like, all right, well, I made the A final. Like I can choke, I can get eighth. It doesn't matter. I'm still All-American. Like that. Like
Yeah, like
all I wanted.
No matter what happens at that point, you're still an All-American.
Yeah, because my sophomore year when I got out touched by .07 and I missed out on the A final, I was like, all I want to do is be up there. I don't care if I'm on the 8th level, but I just want to hold one of those trophies. And that's what I thought going into the finals. And then I kind of like blacked out going up to like obviously when the race happened, but until about the 75 mark, and I saw Liam Bell ahead of me. I was like, okay, I'm probably in the middle of the pack. Like, I don't know what place I'll get, but I'll probably be going fast. And I touched the wall. I looked up and I thought I saw my prelims time. I thought I saw 50.92. So I was like, but I got second, so I was hyped. Oh yeah, let's go. And then the names shuffled, and I saw Liam Bell 49.53, Brian Benzing 50.59, and I was like, no way! Like, there's no way I just went that fast. Like, that's insane. I couldn't even I didn't expect it whatsoever. And second place to a 50 or 49.5. I was like, well, I did my
Yeah, like if I'm gonna be second place, like
second place to that, I was like, hell yeah, like that's what I came here to do. It was just crazy.
There were so many awesome reactions in that race. Like Liam Bell's reaction was awesome. I remember like they showed Dave Durden's reaction and it was hilarious.
Dude, Durden. Yeah.
Your reaction reminded me a lot of Cody Miller in 2016. I don't know if anybody's made that comparison to you, but like just so happy to go best time, get up on the podium, like probably way faster than you ever thought you'd go.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was just like I had put a lot of pressure on myself this whole season to because I knew that I was capable of going like a 50.9 after last year's NCAAs, or like going a 50 point, but like I had put a lot of pressure on myself to be able to like get there and like relax and drop time from in prelims and in finals. It more so I thought about it as like David Johnson when he got second in the 5-3, like he was going crazy. And
yeah.
It was like, I don't understand. Like I think if you get a PB, even if you don't get first, you have the right to celebrate. Like
100%.
When you get to those, like when you're the top like 20 in the country and it comes down to tenths or hundredths, like it is so hard to drop any amount of time. So to like see a PB and be in that A final, celebrate. Like
especially by 4/10 in 100, like that's a huge margin at that distance.
Oh yeah, it was just like I'm gonna celebrate. Like if people have a problem with that, or if it's like whatever, like I did well for myself, and I'm happy like to be able to do that for my school and my coaches and everybody. It was awesome.
I think the right people in that situation will celebrate with you. Like the people who matter most will celebrate with you. Because I've definitely had similar reactions, like placing not first, but going a huge lifetime best and having just like a crazy reaction to a time like that. So I definitely understand that feeling. I remember like Cody Miller when he went that, I think it was 58.8, and it was like an American record at the time, and he had that reaction to his bronze medal. I remember Adam Peaty and Cameron Vanderberg, the gold and silver medalists, were hugging him too.
Yeah.
And then like 4 years later, it was Bruno Fratus in the 50 free who got a bronze medal, and he'd been like, I think he was 4th in 2012 and like 6th in 2016. It's reactions like that I think are the most memorable, because it usually comes from a place of you've been working towards this for such a long time.
Yeah.
So you spent a couple of years in Norway towards the end of your high school career. Talk to me about how living there influenced your swimming and your future plans, and talk to me about a certain individual who you've cited as like one of your biggest inspirations in swimming.
Okay, so it's funny because if I didn't move to Norway, I wouldn't have swam in college. I was like a quad sport athlete. I played like lacrosse, basketball, soccer, and I swam. And up until Norway, I had never just committed to swimming or stopped any other sport. So it completely, like when I say I reworked every single stroke, like I essentially relearned how to swim. Because my junior year, I came in and I was playing basketball and swimming, and I was only going to afternoons. And my coach was like roasting me. All my teammates thought I was trash. Or at the beginning. I started to get a little better when I trained more with them, but like my first like 2 months, however much, I was the person at the back of the lane, like struggling to finish the sets. Like it wasn't good. But I think it may not be the person who you're talking about, but my coach, Johan, he essentially challenged me to rework every single stroke. I spent so many extra hours with him where we just focused on mind and muscle connection, getting down those catches. I reworked butterfly back, breast free, everything I had to do, like to get better. A lot of underwater footage, a lot of just like challenging me to think about how my body moves and how, like, showing me a video, for example, of I can't think of it. The breaststroker, one of the first breaststrokers to break a minute long course, and how his like ankles flexed or whatever, just stuff like that. I think that was kind of like what changed my trajectory for swimming, because like prior to that, like I think I was just taught to sprint, just spin your arms faster if you want to go faster. So being able to live in Norway and have that experience under that coach, and also I actually went to the same school as Tomoas and Emoto Vas. So having him above me and watching him go all these fast times and do all these incredible things, going to Europeans, winning bronze or silvers and setting records, it was a good inspiration to have above me, and not training with me, sadly, but competing against. So without Norway, I wouldn't be where I am.
You know, that was probably right around the time when he was having, like, I remember in 2020, he was having a pretty damn good ISL season too.
Oh my God. I remember one of the things that I always bragged about was like, he beat Vlad Morozov in 100 IM.
Yeah.
Like he got third when Dressel broke the 100 IM world record. He got third, and he got jackpotted, but he still won like a 50 0 or something like that. He was filthy. He could do anything. It was crazy.
And I think when he beat Vlad Morozov, that was probably before the world record was broken, and that was Morozov's world record before it was Dressel's.
Yeah,
that was probably a nice like feather to put in your cap of like, yeah, I beat the world record holder.
Oh yeah. It was almost like, I remember swimming at Norwegian Nationals with him, and it was like, if he was in an event, he was going to win it. It didn't matter. It was just like, it was crazy. He could do anything. Oh, he
was a pretty versatile athlete, yeah. So a lot of athletes talk about this, and I'm wondering if, especially at a competition like NCAAs, where most every final is occupied by a picture of a Gator or Cal or Texas or any of these like top 5-10 schools, what did it mean for you in that 100 breaststroke final or in that 200 breast B final, and any final or heat that you took part in? What did it mean for you to be able to swim with the Towson logo on your cap?
Oh, I think it meant the world. I told somebody, I was like, it's like you said, you only see those big schools cap. Like you'll get an occasional Ivy League, but you're not getting like any like CAA guys like in the A final. Like it's really rare. So to like have that Towson logo, put it on the national, like everybody sees that, they're like, Towson, the hell is that? Like it's so awesome, and especially like being able to do what I did. Like it's just me. So it's not like I'm bringing a team of like 10, 12 people. It's just me. So the odds of me getting that logo in the finals is not that good. So to be able to do that for 3 years, it was awesome. I mean, watching it back, it's like, yep, that's Towson.
I remember, like, admittedly, I'd never heard of the school before, and it made me and probably a lot of other people go and look up the school and look up, like, the history. Like, I think I followed you on Instagram, like, that night after your 100 breaststroke. So it probably had a similar effect of making people go look at the school and see the history. And I absolutely love seeing mid-major schools, or just schools that are underrepresented, do well. Because oftentimes, like, those schools don't have the multi-million-dollar budget of a Texas with, like, I think it was Texas is paying Bob Bowman like $2 million a year or something like that.
No, I think it's 2.4 million.
Yeah.
4 years, over 4 years. Yeah.
Something crazy like that. That's still like $500K a year.
A year, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, on like another note, it's like the same type of thing. It's like all these schools, like they have like 3 pools or like a 50 pool, and like my pool, like, it's a nice pool. I like my pool. It's 8 lanes and there's no dive well. It's everything. When we host a meet, diving has to go 3 hours before or 2 hours before, because they got to take the lane lines out. The facilities, like, it's just not the facilities, the scholarships available for the men's team. Like, when I got, I wasn't offered, like, my class, like, we weren't offered very much to come to Towson, but it wasn't the money that drew us to Towson. It was the people and the coaches and just the connections. So it is really just a different experience, like, grinding at a mid-major level to get to a meet like that.
You know, especially for me, like, I swam at a community college. So, like, my experience was vastly different to a D1 school that is like you said, like 3 pools and a state-of-the-art athletic facility and everything. Like, my season ran from January to the beginning of May. So it was like a truncated season and way less funding and stuff to do. But, like, I didn't go there because of the money or because of the cool things that they had. I think it was the head coach at NC State. He put it very well. He said, "People don't come here for the bling bling," was the exact phrasing that he used. They come here for the people and for the experiences that they have.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry, I thought I cut you off. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, at the end of the day, my coach, like, one of the things that he says, and, like, I think a lot of coaches, like, drive, is that, like, at the end of the day, like, you can have money or it can, like, facilities or whatever, but everything's people-driven. It has to be people-driven. Like, if it's the right place for you, you could get, like, somebody who's going to be so fast just because they have a better connection with the coaches or they connect well with the team. So...
And I mean, oftentimes you could get somebody like, I'm not sure if you've heard of a guy by the name of Jordan Tiffany. He was also at NCAAs.
It sounds familiar, but I don't know specifically.
He went D1 to Tennessee as a 400 IMer, 200 butterflyer, like middle distance to distance swimming, and it like fully funded school, like great program, and he was gone within a year. And about a year later, he went back to BYU and was sprinting, like doing like 50, 100 freestyle, 100 butterfly, like maybe a 200 IM now. And he told me a lot about how like that program fit better for him.
Yeah.
So it's oftentimes like you could get an exceptionally talented athlete and put them in the wrong pool. I mean, like, I was so grateful, like, my college experience, I don't know how community colleges work, like wherever you grew up, but for us, we get 2 years of eligibility instead of 4. So, I mean, at that point, the expectation is you go on to like a D3, D2, or D1 school, and you finish out your other 2 years there. But because of COVID, I got 2 extra years. So my first year didn't count. My second year didn't count. And I finally finished out my 2 years in 2023. And like you talking about like that experience at Towson and how it fit well for you and how there wasn't a lot of money involved, but it was the people and the experiences that kept you there. It just reminds me of that. Like, I got basically a full NCAA career out of what was supposed to be half of that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, there's talk of now, like, community college athletes getting a third year of eligibility. And I'm like, all right, I'm ready for year 5.
Put me back in, coach.
Yeah, my coach knows he's never getting rid of me. So my last question for you, heading into your 5th year, you're now transferring to Indiana, which obviously is a fantastic school. Ray Lewis is doing some great things over there, and they've got a lot of breaststroke talent. What are some of the things that you're most excited for about your transfer there?
I think just a change of scenery. I think a lot of people, and myself included, I love Towson, and I'm very grateful for everything that's they've been given to me. But a change of scenery, I feel like always, at least for a year, a change of scenery is good. It gives me I know that when I made the jump from Norway to college that first year, it felt like I skyrocketed, and I think it was partly a change of scenery. But I'm also looking forward to the people. It's like the same thing as Towson. Part of the reason that I chose Indiana was I went on my trip there. It was the same thing. I felt like I was already part of the team. Some of those guys are really great over there. They were really close to me at NCAAs, and their parents section, they were cheering. It was awesome because they were cheering for me when I was swimming. And I don't have, the only 2 people that were my fans were my parents.
Yeah.
Only from Towson. So to have Indiana, who I'm not representing yet, already be cheering for me and rooting for me in every event I swam, it just shows what type of culture and school and parents they have over there. So I'm really excited for that. And obviously Ray Lewis, top of the line breaststroke coach with a bunch of top tier breaststroke talent to push me every day. And the facilities are going to be awesome.
I got lucky enough to do an interview with Ray in January of last year, and about halfway through the interview, 3 or 4 people from the team stumbled into the room by accident, and they were giggling and laughing, and it just was clear to me the atmosphere on the team there is a very family atmosphere of people who are comfortable around each other. And you're exactly right. They've got a lot of breaststroke talent. I mean, Cody Miller, Lily King, Josh Matheny. There's definitely people I'm blanking on.
Yeah, Maxwell.
Yeah.
Max, Toby Barnett. They'll probably have some incoming guys that they know how to, and in the past, Finn Brooks,
yeah. Oh yeah.
When he did that,
Infinity was there too.
Yeah.
Former NCAA record holder.
Yeah. And Van Matthias last year, who dropped 4 seconds, 5 seconds, and 50.57, whatever. Crazy. No, there's a reason it's called Breaststroke University.
Yeah.
It's breaststroke talent. It's awesome.
All right, Brian. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. So at the end of these interviews, something that I like to do, I just kicked my water bottle. At the end of these interviews, something that I like to do is give the person I'm talking to time to basically have the floor and talk about whatever they want. And weirdly enough, during the Super Bowl season, everybody was plugging their favorite football team. But it's essentially just time for you to talk about whatever your heart desires.
Man, I mean, I guess go Towson, give us some more attention, baby. Come on. If you're looking to come to a good school, we got some great coaches. It's like a family atmosphere, and you're going to get fast. If you want to work, you want to put in the work, get better, the coaches will get you there. That's also one of the things that I really liked. It's been different, Towson. Not many people go through a coaching change halfway through their career or their college career. So to have the new coaching staff come in, be so good to us, and definitely a change of training. But I've wanted to succeed, and they've provided me the opportunities and resources to get me where I want to be. And so yeah, just
it's always a toss up. I feel like when you get a new coaching staff, and it's always like a breath of relief almost when like that coaching staff is one that fits well with the pre-established nature of the team.
Yeah. It was a bit of a learning curve, you know what I mean? And I felt like if this is a testament to just like how much Towson means to me and how much the new coaching staff has grown on me. When he came in that summer, I was like, hey man, like I might just finish out my junior year here, but I'm probably going to transfer after that. And he was like, look, that's fine. Just trust what I'm doing. We're going to try to get you faster in the IM and your other strokes because your breaststroke's pretty good, but we can get you in faster in other stuff so you'll be better when you enter the portal. And I finished out my junior year. And I was like, no, I think I'm going to stay. So I finished it out at Towson, and I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it different.
It's such a nice feeling too when like you can have that amicable split with a coach or with a team. Like I left my club team right after my senior year of high school, and like I could have trained with them another 2 years while I was at community college. And I think it's a testament to a truly good coach who cares about the athletes that like now, almost 5 years later, I'm on better terms with those coaches than I was when I left.
Yeah, good coaches stick around.
Yeah, definitely. Brian, thank you so much for sitting down with me. This was awesome. I'm so glad we were able to set this up.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It was great to it felt like a conversation. It was awesome.
That's always what I strive for. Like I've made it a goal to make sure that like I can show people a good time and let them have fun while also like creating well thought out questions for them and like not like I don't want people to leave here bored, basically.
Yeah.